What is it?
YNW.
YNW?
Yeah.
What's YNW stand for?
Yeah. World.
We need you to be straight up with us and tell us where this happened. Okay? My understanding, you told these officers something, but the evidence doesn't show that it happened there. You may or may not know. If you knew who did this, would you tell me? It's either a yes or no question. Answer.
YNW Melly has been exposed in recent evidence, as a new report would be released stating, according to a juror who served in the YNW Melly trial, claims a majority of the jurors wanted to convict him. However, one woman that was on the jury was determined to find Melly not guilty, and she convinced two other people to say he wasn't guilty too. And quote, his mom is lying, it was 9-3 guilty, not the other way around. As this is a response to YNW Melly's mother, Jamie King, who after the mistrial was granted in court, posted on her Snapchat saying, 9 not guilties, 3 guilty. It was a mistrial, my son will be home soon. God is still working. However, it gets much deeper than this, as a juror did an exclusive interview with a news source. However, she wanted to stay completely anonymous, as it seems the juror that was causing the issues knew from the beginning she wasn't going to change her mind at all, as she wanted to be a quote hero.
Now, this is from Local 10 News right out of Fort Lauderdale, and they said most jurors wanted to convict Melly of 2 counts of the Broward County, the former juror has said. Now, this juror is speaking on the condition of anonymity, which means that they're not going to disclose their identity. The juror blamed the mistrial on one woman who served on the jury who appeared to be determined to acquit Jamel Demons. The juror goes on to say that from day one, she had issues with the 4-person selected, at one point crossing her arms and saying that she was done. When another juror asked to not shut down and she set her feelings aside, she was manipulative, she was rude, she yelled insults at everyone, and she was just had a different opinion. The juror stated that she was there just to cause chaos.
The one juror that did the exclusive interview was getting very annoyed with the one lady, as allegedly she claims that the one juror wanted to be a hero, possibly wanting some fame to be the one to save YNW Melly in this case. The anonymous juror doing the interview stated the original votes was 11-1 for YNW Melly being guilty. However, the juror that wanted to be a hero, voting not guilty all by herself, would end up doing something very unexpected.
On the last day of deliberation, the former juror said that while it appeared that there was 11-1 to convict Demons, the woman pulled 2 jurors aside and spoke to them for a few minutes and convinced them to come to her side. They stated, and I quote, then she came over and announced to the group that they had changed their minds, but when another juror asked why she was speaking for them, the former juror said, adding that the woman then hurled insults, including at the man who was questioning her. And without an agreement, Broward County Circuit Judge John J. Murphy declared the mistrial, and you guys remember that.
It hasn't been revealed what the juror that wanted to be a hero said to the other 2, causing them to also vote not guilty. However, sources do claim it was something under the lines of telling them, hey, look, this guy's a famous rapper, you vote him not guilty and save his life, you will probably get rich. However, the juror that did the interview would go to mention why they're even speaking to a news source about the trial in the first place, which is all to make YNW Melly's mother look extremely unprofessional.
The former juror said that the decision to speak up about what happened behind the scenes resulted from reports from Demon's mother, Jamie King, who said that they were deadlocked at 9-3 in favor of an acquittal, which again, we find out from this juror, is incorrect. The former juror said it was actually the opposite. She said that she had came out because she said, I don't want someone out there changing my vote. And she then goes on to say that you tell a lie enough, it becomes the truth. Now here's the best snippet. It says the next hearing for the case is on August 4th, and Demon's team, as well as the prosecutors, agreed to start jury selection for the next trial on October 2nd. But again, we don't know if the judge is going to agree to a dual trial.
YNW Melly's mother likely posted this to her Snapchat story to get on the nerves of the families of Sack Chaser and Juvie, as that was their plan to do to YNW Melly's mom throughout the entire trial. As during the Melly trial, YNW Juvie's sister reached out to Melly's mother on social media and didn't hold back.
What's been going on in the courtroom?
Well, Anjanette, it's been a very interesting morning. It did start off earlier with the defense bringing up an issue. Apparently, Juvie's sister posted on, I guess, one of the social media outlets, and she said that she was going to Jamie King, and so that caused a big, issue in the courtroom. It wasn't anything that we got on tape, but it did happen this morning. It was on the record, and she has a bodyguard now, so that was one of the first issues that the court dealt with this morning. And it was interesting because the judge did basically say, if you needed more security, I can get it for you. Ultimately, it was determined that the security she had, the bodyguard, was going to be enough. So,
due to this, the judge then ordered to have YNW Melly's mother have 24/7 security with her by her side, as it ended up being leaked on what the families of Juvie and Sack Chaser were truly saying to YNW Melly's mom.
Now, shout out to Reddit, because we had to do some digging to find the sister. Now, this is the sister, Ashley Monique. And let me show you the post that she had posted on Facebook, because, honey, it was quite the stir. So she posted this screenshot from Jamie King, YNW Melly's mother, and she said, "Pest control, who called about?" Now, that was in regards to a post made by Trayvon Glass on his Instagram page, where he basically said that he's not worried about anything, and if he's come him. So in a nutshell, Melly's mom is calling Trayvon Glass a, and Monique replied back and says, "A is when you do something wrong and not take responsibility and then go and set somebody up because you're scared to lay down." She goes on to say, "That's not the case here. Fetty was Juvie's friend, not Melly. He was only around because Juvie brought him." Now in the comments, somebody says she better find something safe to do. Another person replied back and says, "Very well said." Another person tagged Jamie, and somebody else said, "Come get." Now Ashley was in the comments and says, "She even has a bodyguard, child." Another person replied and says, "Yeah, she need one because she's talking like she's 200 pounds and she ain't even pushing 100. Now somebody else posted this and says, "She's going to need them because she in the wrong city talking." Now, I think that when Melly's defense attorneys found this, they submitted it over to the judge and basically was like, Juvie's sister's out here Melly's mom. Now, the judge did state that if Melly's mom needed security, he would issue her security, and then he found out that she had a bodyguard, and that would be sufficient enough.
It even got to the point where YNW Melly even knew what was happening with his mother, knowing that she was going through a lot with this trial, with many old issues being brought up. Once the judge granted security, YNW Melly looked so relieved, his lawyers even offered a hug as he almost looked as if he was gonna cry.
Jury entry?
Which is when YNW Melly even tried comforting her inside of the courtroom, asking if she's okay.
Sorry.
You'll just don't do it.
Sadly, the YNW Melly trial part 2 won't be any easier for Melly's mother, as the YNW Bortlen interrogation would be released this week, where YNW Bortlen can be heard stating the crime happened allegedly out of jealousy.
Let's talk about why. Are you having issues with anyone?
I mean, we are upcoming artists and stuff, so people like, you know, when you like start doing better than people, they start hating and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
So you had some jealousy issues.
Yeah, it's like jealousy issues. But goddamn, I haven't really been on there. But like he like my friend that's way now, God bless. He was telling me like, right. He always telling me about how people just like today. He was telling me some folks from up our way.
What's up your way?
Like Vero
Beach?
Beach. Like that's where I used to stay. You know what I'm saying? So I grew up there. So that's our hometown. You know what I'm saying?
So what did your friend say about from Vero Beach. What was he saying to you?
He was saying basically just like they were on like Instagram, Facebook, like sneak.
Then later in the interrogation, the officer would then ask YNW Bortlen, if you know who did this, would you tell me?
By just telling me the truth, even if it's something that I don't want to hear, but I respect the truth rather than BS, okay? And a simple question. If you knew who did this, okay? You may or may not know. If you knew who did this, would you tell me? It's either a yes or no question. Answer.
Honestly?
Yeah, honestly. The truth. You wouldn't?
Because I wouldn't want to be a part of it. I wouldn't want to be.
As YNW Bortlen does not give a firm yes or no answer by using his voice. Instead, he shakes his head side to side, saying no, as this is because if YNW Melly was the one who did it, Bortlen then would obviously know. Saying no to the officer using his voice could have caused his voice to come out in a different volume than what he's been using throughout the entire interrogation. This is due to him lying, as that would then be a clear indicator to the police that YNW Bortlen knows a lot more than what he's sharing. With Bortlen not opening up, the officer would then want details of the in-the-moment actions during the drive-by. How was Bortlen driving? Did he crash into anything? Did he see any faces or license plates?
And I'm driving, ducking for my life, trying to make sure I don't get hit. And you telling me, you telling me about some shit. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to make sure I don't get hit. I'm driving. I'm trying to make sure I don't get hit. You know what I'm saying? What I'm gonna be worried about? You know what I'm saying?
I know it's not for you to worry about.
Shit crazy, bro.
But if you tell me it happened there, there's gotta be some evidence there. There's gonna be broken glass, just like there's broken glass over here when you guys open the doors and stuff like that. Okay, there's gonna be broken glass over there when the windows got out. There's gonna be casings from the people at your car. Okay, there's gonna be evidence over there. Okay, right now there's nothing. I kind of think I know what happened because I got information.
With YNW Bortlen explaining to the officer the actions that he was making, it was clear the officer was not buying it. The officer even states that he believes he knows what happened, but he doesn't even want to say it. However, things continue to get worse for Melly this week, as more evidence would come out against him. O-Block resident J Hood, a friend of rapper King Von, would then reveal something unexpected during an interview, as Von may have mentioned a little too much to a group of people at O-Block.
Did Vaughn really tell you that Melly told him that he was two friends?
He ain't come out and say, like, we got into an argument. And so, you know, if you know, when people could say something without saying it. And so he told me, like, once I posted what I posted, Vaughn was mad at me. Bro, why you put up there, bro? Walk the bam. I'm like, you sitting up here, like, you know the love we got. You do this for us, but you gonna trust that his two friends? And he said, them was trying to extort him. And so I'm like, if they was trying to extort him, then why are you still around them?
J Hood reveals information that we never even knew. Allegedly, King Von told him that Sack Chaser and Juvie were going after Melly for financial gain. King Von and YNW Melly were best friends many years ago, from making a song titled Rolling together to even Von and Dirk calling YNW Melly in jail.
Bust, you got 10 piece. Bust harder than mine. It's me. It's y'all. I say, you had a 10 piece. Sean.
As when you add this into the already existing YNW Melly evidence, it's very concerning, as Sergeant Williams even revealed that after investigating the Jeep they were driving in, there's no way this could have been a drive-by.
Assignment, which is to determine if this is a drive. And my determination was that this is not a drive-by, and it's based upon this picture here, which is a very good picture to describe it. All of these rounds are done. One is done at a stationary position. The at a stationary position when all but one of these rounds are going in. The one round that has some movement in it which is round site L here. The actually moving in that to create the little bit of a that you see there.
Okay, a lot of information in that answer, so let's break it down a little bit. You mentioned so I'm gonna zoom in on site F.
He took note of every single hole that was inside of the car, and then he used what is known as the stick method to find out how the holes were created, including the direction of where it could have came from and the angle, as the angle from YNW Melly's seat reveals a concerning picture.
Number, you said 17 outside the car. How many rounds were inside of the car?
3.
And can you exclude the for Mr. Williams and Mr. Thomas as coming from outside of the car?
Yes. From the driver's side back seat.
As to the shot that was Christopher Thomas, where did that emanate from?
Driver's side back seat.
Okay. Is it possible for there to have been 2 inside that car?
No.
Why not?
There is no time.
With Sergeant Williams guaranteeing to the jury the crime must have happened from the person in the back left seat of the vehicle, the prosecutors would then call up YNW Juvie's mother to the stand during trial, as she would confirm who was sitting where inside of the car.
Are you related to one of the victims in this case?
Yes, I am.
How so?
I'm his mother.
And who is that?
Christopher Thomas.
Positive 21915. Ms. Phillips, did you see who entered into the occupants who entered into that gray Jeep?
Mm-hmm.
And is that a yes?
Yes.
Do you recognize where your son entered that gray Jeep?
Yes.
Which seat, if you can identify for the jury?
He got in the back seat on the right hand side.
Did you recognize the individual that got into the back seat on the left side, the rear driver's side?
Yes.
And who was that individual?
Jamel.
And Jamel, is that the defendant, Jamel Demons?
Yes, ma'am.
YNW Juvie has known all 4 YNW affiliates ever since they were in high school. She knows exactly who was sitting where. So the jury, after hearing Juvie's mother share where everyone was sitting, YNW Juvie's father would then reveal that he believed Melly was guilty ever since the beginning.
From the day one, I believe that Melly was responsible for my son on October 26th when I first heard the story, because his explanation when I finally talked to him and Cortland on a FaceTime, their response and how they was reacting, they showed no remorse. They didn't act like they was grieving, like they lost a best friend or nothing. They was, in my opinion, they was in the best spirits. They wasn't reacting to, they act like they didn't have take a loss at all. That's how I took it. And then when I was talking to them, I still had in the back of my mind that something's not right.
Then shortly after, the lead detective would reveal a text message from YNW Melly's cell phone. A message where YNW Melly admits to doing the crime.
The PZ Gambino account asked him if he was okay, and his response was, "I did that," and placed a smiley face emoji.
And the next message from 10/26/2018 at 16:02 from Eastern Standard Time. The YNW Melly account says what?
After that, SHHHH.
And could you please stand and point on the right side of the screen exactly which part you're saying where the YNW Melly account says, "I did that"?
I did that. This is the thread ID. This is the text. This is the author. And this is the recipient. Then you come down here, same thing. The ID is for the actual message, which is just specific that one message. Then the thread ID is the actual continuation, continuing message.
Even with all of that evidence against YNW Melly, the mistrial was still granted, and it was granted for one reason. This was all because of his famous lawyer and the one juror that wanted to be a hero. As on the closing day of trial, his one angry lawyer was screaming over the fact the jury had to make a decision on YNW Melly's life with such little evidence.
And tell him that he's going to live life in the state penitentiary without parole or being on parole? This is the investigation they want you to rely upon and say it's proof beyond and to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt? I guess so, according to them.
As Melly's lawyer would continue on being angry inside of the courtroom, as his next argument was the original crime was a quote drive-by. However, the police never even looked at the surrounding stores that had surveillance cameras on the outside to see the vehicles that could have been driving from the area that the crime occurred in. In doing so, they would have seen all of the license plates and all of the vehicles that were driving down that street when it happened.
That he doesn't go to the on Miramar Parkway to check their surveillance tape. He doesn't go to Applebee's to check their surveillance tape. He doesn't go to Polo Tropical or the gas station or the bank on Miramar Parkway to check their surveillance tapes. When the car's on 184th Avenue, he doesn't go to the fire station to check their tapes, surveillance tapes. Doesn't go back to the two elementary schools, Sunset Lakes and West Broward Elementary, to check their surveillance tape because he knows it all. He knows it. How do you know it if you don't check?